Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. I want to begin today with a comment that most narcissists, virtually all, would disagree with, and that is the lives of these individuals who give you so much difficulty are defined by losing. Now, the narcissist in your world will look at you, and if you say, well, your life is defined by losing, and it'd be like, oh, what are you even talking about? They think of themselves as being the gold standard. They think of themselves as the one who's doing everyone else a favor by telling them how they're supposed to live life. And so inevitably, they are blind to whatever negatives they bring to the equation. And they just think, well, the world would be a lot better place if everybody thought, well, like me. And as a result, they don't realize the toxicity that they bring into a relationship. And that being the case, it brings out the worst in you. It brings out the worst in them because they're convinced that their control, their entitlement, their superiority, their invalidation, their defensiveness is not at all problematic. In fact, if you interpret them in that way, they'll say, you just don't know me very well or you don't understand me at all. But in fact, that's who they are. A key concept for you to hold on to as you engage with narcissists is to remember that narcissists are in a perpetual mode of defensiveness. It's a long-standing pattern that they have. They have a deep fear of their own humanity being exposed. And as a result, they build a persona upon false impressions. And it's the old proverbial building your house upon sand. For a while, maybe they can try to make it stand, but there's no good foundation there, and it ultimately crumbles. Let's keep in mind that narcissists, as they work so hard to build this wonderful gold standard kind of persona, are dishonest. And they're dishonest first and foremost with themselves about who they are. Now, if you try to talk with them about that and you say, hey, I don't think you're reading things very well, or that was not a very clear interpretation of me, or something like that that exposes their false self, what are you going to receive in reverse? And you know what it is: anger, agitation, irritability, blame shifting. They're just going to come at you with the idea that says you have no idea what you're saying, and yet you're over there thinking, well, I'm trying to get you to take a look at truth. And so all they do instead is they argue, or they hold grudges, or they go into passive aggressive mode. They can't sit down and say, well, whether this agrees or doesn't agree with me, you obviously have something on your mind that's important to you. Let me hear from you. They cannot say something like that to save their life. And then beyond that, they'll also hear you with the notion that says, well, whatever rules that you're trying to apply to me, whatever standards or principles you want to superimpose upon me, they don't apply to me. You see, I'm unique. I'm special. Go figure. And so I get to make up my own rules for myself, and I don't really need input from you. And so in the long run, their own self-serving ideals is going to catch up with them, and ultimately they are going to collapse. It's just an inevitability. Now, there are multiple indicators or behaviors that will tell you if a narcissist is on that path towards their own personal destruction. The first thing that we can say, and again, this is one of those things I know you're going to nod and say, oh yeah, I see this all the time. The first thing we can say that indicates that they're self-destructing is they attempt to destroy you. You see, what they want to do is they want to make you look foolish. They want to make you to be the problem and the cause for whatever is going on that they don't like. But in doing so, they overlook the interconnectedness that we each have. Rather than approaching differences or relational, decision making in a healthy kind of way, there's a notion that says, well, if this is coming from you and if it has any kind of disagreement from me, then it's not relevant to me. And they forget that you might actually have a perspective that they could use. And it's like, no, I've already declared myself to be the one who makes all the right decisions. End of discussion. That being the case, another indicator, as they destroy and invalidate and let you know that you're no good, is they do a lot of blame shifting. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Do you ever think of a narcissist as someone who says, well, things went wrong, I need to take a look at my role in that? No way. Instead, what they do is they push it back onto you, and they don't grow. They don't learn, and as a result, they keep perpetuating the same old maladaptive issues that are not good for a growing and thriving relationship. Likewise, another thing that's a behavior that indicates they're in self-destructive mode is they are constantly trying to put you inside a preordained mold, as if there's only one way that people are supposed to think and behave and respond and opine on different things. It's like, well, yeah, and everything needs to be my way. And again, they dismiss the whole notion of a variety of personalities and ways of looking at things and perspectives. To them, it doesn't matter. It's unnecessary. As a result, in their mind, if there are some discrepancies between you and them, then it leads to them thinking, well, the way for you and me to get along is for me to insult you and to make you feel so bad about who you are. And I want you to feel so stupid about your approach toward life that you'll inevitably think, wow, I need you, the narcissist, to save me from my own sorry self. That's how they think. And they think, yeah, if I can convince you that you're no good, then we're going to get along just fine. That's not part of the formula for healthy living. Or another indicator that shows that they're in self-destructive mode is they refuse to say, I need help. And there's another phrase that they refuse to say, and that is, you make sense. They can't say that because that implies that there's something other than superiority for them to draw upon. They don't want to see you as being an equal. They don't want to see you as being someone that has something they need unless it is part of their narcissistic supply. Another indicator that shows that narcissists are self-destructive is they have very low levels of future thinking. And by that I mean they don't ask the question, where are my behaviors today leading? I've known so many people that have made dumb decisions, whether it's in their addictions or let's say affairs or the way they manage money or how they treat people. And inevitably, it's like it's going to catch up with you. And their thinking is, all I know is today's Monday or whatever it is. And I don't care about what happens down the road. It's like, okay, it's still going to catch up with you, but they don't want to factor that in. All they can do is think about their immediate cravings of the moment. As a result, they don't learn from whatever consequences may come from some of their miscalculations. Again, I go back and say they do a lot of blame shifting, and somehow whenever there's some difficulty, it's everybody else's fault except their own. Instead, what they'll continue to do is they will indulge their own addictions, and by that we can list a wide array of things there, whether it's addictions to substances or addictions to people, and the addiction to affirmation, the addiction to material gain or public acclaim, things like that. And they'll another indicator that they're into their self-destruction is they lean heavily upon authoritarianism. They like to play power games with people. And in doing so, they forget people don't like to be overpowered. They don't like to be spoken to in a derisive kind of way. But that self-destructive narcissist says, well, ultimately, we need to do everything the way I say. And as a result, they spout opinions they tend to be poorly conceived. In other words, they don't have good analytical thinking. And then I'm going to throw in another thing that shows that they're in a self-destructive mode, and that is many times they just hide themselves behind mindless behaviors, like looking on the cell phone. They don't pay attention to you, or doing their own favorite activities and all without any kind of regard for what it means to other individuals. There are so many ways that they illustrate, I don't know how to interact well with people. What I require is your conformity, because you see, I don't know how to blend. I don't know how to harmonize, but they think of that as winning. And I go back to that opening statement. Ultimately, everything I'm describing is a pattern for losing. If we can describe relationships or personalities in a competition, which is what they do. So when you see that narcissists are bent towards their own personal destruction and things are going to collapse, there's one thing that you want to avoid, and there's one thing you want to hold on to. And that is, the what you want to avoid is, you want to avoid your own self-destroying responses back to them. The more you go into the hard negatives, hate and anger and contempt and bitterness and just pushing upon that, and you know that some of you get caught into the undertow, then you're playing right into their game. The number one thing you do want to do is you want to let go. Basically, the best way to respond to a narcissist who's determined to self-destruct is to say, you're on your own, dude. You get to be whatever you want to be. I'm not accompanying you on that part of your journey. If the narcissist could be honest, which they won't, they would say, well, actually, I'm empty inside. And my public image really is nothing more than a cardboard cutout. I've exchanged my own personal self-improvement for whining and complaining and griping, and I've never really learned how to be logical in the way that I manage relationships. They won't say that. That being the case, I'm hoping you can let the narcissist in your mind at least know you get to unravel at your own risk and in whatever way you want. But I'm going to continue learning the appropriate skills so that I can be a person of love and peace and fairness. That's what I'm going to do with my energy. And I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness of what you're dealing with, and in doing so, it can help you in your own personal growth trajectory. I'm so appreciative when you allow me to be on your journey with you. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, I would encourage you to do that. Hit the like button too. If you have a need for therapy, and many times as you think about these concepts, it prompts you to think, I could use somebody that could help me unpack all of this. I'm so pleased that I'm sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. They've been with me now for multiple years, and there's a link below that'll take you to a whole team of licensed professional therapists. I would strongly encourage you to go in that direction if you would find that to be most helpful. Likewise, I have my therapeutic classes, and it's like signing up for an online course. Each class has many videos with written documents, guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about establishing your boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. In addition, we have my webinars. We have our Surviving Narcissism podcast. It's become quite popular. We also have my books and our website with many articles, plenty of resources for you. Narcissists think they're just winning, they're tearing it up out there, when in fact their engagement style really is built upon losing. And despite some of their early bravado, they are going to collapse, they are going to fall apart. Factor that in as you decide how far you want to get connected with them. Because in the end, I'm hoping that those of us who are here on Team Healthy can say, well, I want to stand for the things that matter most: dignity, respect, and civility. And in doing so, it does indeed position you to be that person of love and a person of peace.